All right. Hey, everybody. TG here. Let's see. I got to get my other situation up and running, which is right here. And then I was having some audio troubles just as I was wrapping up the other one. So hopefully things are doing well over here. Those of you who are on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, let me know if my audio is okay. And then the other interesting thing, I was going to try and put my camera on today, but it is just not wanting to recognize it right now. But that's the first time that I would have been able to put this new camera and everything on. So we'll have to just kind of deal with that a little bit later. I was just came off of an hour in our options room and everything, and then we'll have to kind of move on from there. So yeah, I wanted to show you guys this. I would have shown you the new camera, but the new room, but can't do anything. So this is basically the new background of what I got. The office has been remodeled, and that's a big change from what it was before. So yeah, if you guys kind of wanted to, that's what my situation now looks like. Looking pretty good. We got Lewis the cat just kind of hanging out over there, and yeah, it would have been nice to be on camera today for that. So that being said, we'll kind of dive into things. Is it still choppy? How about those in Facebook and YouTube? How are you guys hearing me? Any doing okay at all? But oh man, it's unfortunate. I even reloaded, so I do not know what to tell you guys as far as this being choppy. I haven't touched anything. Yeah, let me see what I can do here. All right, Omer, is this helping anything as far as the audio? It's funny, apparently on YouTube, audio sounds fine. And so I did unplug it and then plugged it back in. So I'm wondering if this is just our own internet thing, because apparently over there on YouTube and Facebook, everything's fine. Huh. Well, I'm going to just keep going, because if the audio is good, then I'll chalk for about a quick 20 minutes, and then we'll kind of go from there. So anyway, what I wanted to start off with is the idea that SPY is probably going to hit 500, the SPX 5000, and we could see that there is a trend line that seems to be right on target for that 500, 5000 type thing. So yeah, I think it's going to act as both a magnet, and then I'm very curious to see if this is going to act as a as resistance. And what I was talking about in the other session was that Jesse Livermore was a big trader, famous trader back in the turn of the century. Then he had a thing called the century mark rule. So basically, another way to think about it is round number itis, is that when we start seeing these round numbers, we get towards it, it can act as both a magnet and as a barrier. So just kind of be aware that we're coming up to a big, big psychological number of 5,000. We're also coming up to that on the back of the internals, the breadth kind of not doing great. So the number of stocks over 50-day SMA have been trending down. We've kind of getting some bumping around on the 20-day, but we're seeing some divergence. And then 200-day has also been kind of moving down. So we've been seeing that as some issues. And then also big picture, the put call ratio is back down to 0.7. So do be aware of that we're back down to kind of a low put call ratio. So, markets are up, sure. We are seeing some things that are moving, and there are still some stocks that are moving, and there will be as the market cycles. There's going to be rotation, sure, of course, but for the most part, I think we need to be careful and just kind of be aware that there are, the likelihood of a pullback, flag, correction, I don't know, something is probably closer than it is further away. Yeah, Loco no Joko. So yeah, Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. Definitely. It's a great book. And let's kind of see here. So brighter side, yeah, let's see a lot of small cap similar charts like Roku. Wonder if IWM holds the daily 50 and moves up with the hourly divergence, but price keeps getting trapped underneath the hourly 50. Yeah. So I've been kind of saying I think that the IWM is going to flag for a while, which it's been doing. But of course, if the markets, the S&P and the NASDAQ need to come down, then the IWM is probably going to come down a bit. So the question really is, how far is this going to come down, and or what is it going to do? Is it just going to hang out and go sideways for a while, or is it going to maybe work its way a little bit further down before going up? Not entirely sure. We're just going to have to wait and see. But I don't think that the IWM is quite ready to move up. But I do think that I think we just need to let this thing, chill out more. It is flagging into the daily 50. That can persist for some time. Yeah, there's kind of a double bottom. Yeah, there's some divergence, but price is still underneath the hourly 50, and the Moxie indicator is still below zero and still red. So I don't see anything yet as far as bullishness. It's mostly just going sideways and chopping. And then, yeah, as you said, you look at something like Roku, big picture, I like Roku. It looks pretty good. It's kind of come down here on that weekly chart and finds some support. And even here on the daily and hourly, it's kind of done a double bottom. And you can see here on the hourly, this is much better than, say, IWM. It's actually going back up, and the Moxie indicator is actually above zero. That's what we're looking for the IWM. And it's just not there yet. The only issue I have is that earnings are coming up, and really this could just chop around for a while. So if you wanted to trade something like Roku, it needs to behave. It needs to follow moving averages. It needs to actually trend. It needs to do something. But if you find these things just kind of not doing much, then you need to take that as kind of a clue. As you guys know, well, at least you should know, I don't like to trade earnings. And the reason, as Nick is bringing up, is stuff like this. Snapchat, down 30 something percent. So yeah, I do not like to just roll the dice and see what happens with earnings. So I tend to do that. Yeah, it looks like the audio is going to be just a problem with the Moxie room. Let's see, catch the recording or the live on Facebook and YouTube. All right, and let's see, not trusting the QQQ so high, been waiting for a pullback to the daily 50 given the weekly, now using upper third Keltner as support to overbought. I totally agree, 100%. Yeah, because if we look at, we talked about the SPY and look at the NASDAQ, not only is it up here outside of that weekly third ATR, look what it's also doing. It's hitting the monthly third ATR. Now, that doesn't mean that this is going to be the end of the trend. Of course not. That's not what we're saying. Because you can see here, of course, that was, a special occasion. But basically, you can see when it got it really overbought, it did pull back, and it pulled back, and it pulled back, and it pulled back. So we just need to be okay with that and aware that there's likely to be a pullback. And we just kind of need to wait for the next opportunity for things to cycle back down. So there is a bit of a gap here between price and the moving average on the monthly time frame. And just like I showed you, even in the rip-roaring market of 2020, there were still flags and pullbacks to those higher time frame supports. So yeah, that's what we just kind of need to wait. B1 Hindenburg Oben triggered multiple times on NASDAQ and NYSE, i.e. that's telling us that the market is topping based on a mismatch between price, new lows, and breadth. Suggests correction likely in days to a few weeks. 100%, yes, that is true. I like the Hindenburg omens, but my understanding is they are only 25% accurate. But when they are accurate, they are also very true. So there has never been a market decline or correction or something like that without a Hindenburg omen. But it can give some false signals or false whatevers. But B1, I would kind of think I think something's happening because we have been up for 3 months. Because this rally kicked off November 3rd, basically, and here we are, February. A little past February 3rd. So yeah, we're talking a solid 3 months at this point, and yeah, we're watching the internals kind of decline. The breadth is declining. Things are just what am I trying to think? Exaggerated or I'm going to move away from that word because my mouth is having a hard time trying to say it. But it's just to the top side. We're really up there. And we've had some really big earnings. So I could see some of these things also calming down. We'd had Amazon jump up. Well, what's it likely to do? It's probably going to, need to consolidate because after you get big moves, I don't like that, it likes to kind of consolidate and pull back a little bit. Same thing with Netflix. We get a big move. You can see here, big move likes to consolidate. Big move likes to consolidate. Big move likes to consolidate. So yeah, I'm on the side of likely needing to see things kind of pull back, refresh, reset. The put call ratio is very low again, all that kind of stuff. So I would definitely agree with that. And even something like Meta, like, wow, holy crap, like what are you doing with that thing? That probably needs to come back down. And this is what I was talking about in the simpler room, is that you can see here, big move up, consolidated, pulled back, came back into line. Big move up, came back into line. And you just kind of see these things pop up, came back into line. And I think we're seeing the same thing, currently. So yeah. B1, yeah, so there could be false positives with basic Hindenburg signal, but it's fairly reliable when price is at highs and when it triggers multiple times. Rare signal, last time it triggered in succession on both indices was November 19th, 2021, i.e. called the last top perfectly. Yeah, now the question is this going to be a top, or is this just going to be a correction? So let's maybe look at the SPY. November 19th, 2021. Let's see, yep, right around there. Yeah, I just have a hard time thinking that this is going to be some, like, top of the bear market. I could see a correction, because if we look, let me clean this up a little bit. I guess we are on that one. Let me do this one. So the way that I see it is we are pulling away from the moving average, just like we are there too, and third ATR, and the trend line. So I could see us having a pretty healthy pullback and correction, but I'm not sure that I'm willing to say that it's the end of the market run. It's too early to say, but it is getting extreme and exaggerated. And yeah, I would say we need to, just kind of crank up the caution scale, the caution dial. Let's see, SMH, what do I think about shorting that? I'm having a hard time wanting to short anything that's up here like this, because it can be very messy. That is usually the issue that I have with shorting, is just how messy it is. So for example, the last time that we saw a major market correction, which was August, September, October, was this. And while the market did move down, it was very messy. So, Ravi, if you're going to be shorting, I think you need to keep it very quick, short duration, because look at these waves that even the SMH did just to get down to its daily 200. Okay, um, you'll have to figure out when you can short here and get down here and then get out. And then you can try it again and then get out, and then try it again and get out. I think you should be prepared for something like that, because usually something like the markets, they're not just going to cascade straight down. They're not going to do that. They're going to come kind of in these waves like that. Kind of the same way up. Up's a little bit easier. Shorting is more challenging and definitely more volatile. Because anytime the market goes down, it's more volatile. And the other thing I would say is it can take some time. So for as much as maybe like right here is where you were kind of maybe shorting, it took some time, came down, jumped up, and then finally broke. And we're kind of looking at the same thing, came down, jumped up, and maybe that's going to be the time it breaks. But you got to either get it right, or you have to use just small size because you don't want to risk too much and kind of dabble with it. But the short side can be challenging, is the moral of the story. Even here, you see these things like it chop, chop, chop. Okay, finally breaks. Chop, 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 break. But then if we kind of look at this, it really didn't, here's a case where it didn't really go down. Or this one did go down, but wow, that took a long time and really didn't go very far. This was a lot of chop. Finally, it broke and then it went sideways. So the short side is just challenging, is what I'm trying to get at. And if you're going to try and short the indices, maybe take it 1 or 2 days at a time, maybe 3 or 4 days. I don't know, but just be careful with it. A lot of times it's easier just to kind of sit in your hands and wait for the better opportunities to the long side. But hey, if you want to do the short, go for it. Let's see. I think I'm going to kind of just wrap up that. I know I've been having some audio issues out there. I am wondering if there's going to be some rotation. I'm looking at stuff like this, even HLLY kind of looking good, sitting here along our daily 50s. CLF, looks like it wants to move and see if it can kind of find some support. Uh, GGG, this name looking kind of interesting. Looks like it wants to kind of keep moving up again, kind of in the industrial space. So we'll see, but do be careful. I think that the market's kind of an area where it wants to take a bit of a break and a rest. And then let's see, GDX. I'm out of GDX. There's nothing to do here. It's kind of a mess. I've been watching it, and you know, hasn't really done anything. So I don't see anything with GDX, and even GLD. I've been watching this thing, trying to see if it's going to ever move up. It looked like it was going to, but then it just kind of fell right back into its range. So I would generally be bullish on gold, but it's also taking forever to do anything. So I personally am not going to be doing anything with that one. All right, guys. Well, I got some AV issues today, so we're just going to kind of cut it there. Um, if you guys have any questions in the Moxie group, if you can kind of hear me over there, feel free to ask me, and we'll be seeing you guys tomorrow anyway. So thanks again. Take care, and maybe next time I'll have the camera on for you over there at Facebook and YouTube, since I just need to work on those technical issues. All right, guys. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.